I talked about this building earlier on the right. This is a piece of German Renaissance Beaux-Arts architecture. It's like an old stock exchange, right? It was the first purpose-built commodities exchange. So they would deal with the wheat prices and corn prices and stuff, but there are a lot of financial offices in there. Now the architecture being a mixture of Germanic influences and Roman influences, so if you look at the second row of columns up there, and they have those capitals that look like vines and leaves, what we call that is a folial capital. Those types of column capitals were used in like Gothic cathedrals and stuff, right? You're probably seeing similar looking ones. That's one of the Germanic influences, but then there are other features that come from ancient Rome, so it's like a combination of the two architectural styles. So, on the right, I really like this cool statue. The statue's been here for a very, very long time, since the 1800s, put there in the 1870s. It's dedicated to the theme of religious liberty, which is like obviously how Philadelphia was founded and why Philadelphia was founded. This city was founded by religious activists, the Quakers. So the Quakers, like, it was this evangelical group out of mid 17th century England, and basically the Quakers wanted to, have freedom from religious persecution. So they came over here and founded Philly for those purposes, and the city is everything to the right of us. So if you can go in like 10 minutes, so this is where the city was founded on the right, those handful of city blocks. When they built Independence Hall and stuff on the left, this was like on the outskirts of the city kind of. Obviously, it's very enveloped by the city now. So on the left, that is how Independence Hall looked. In 1776, when the Declaration of Independence was actually debated and eventually signed it. Now, Federal Courthouse building on the right, of course. They have a lot of big famous trials there, like you'll see it on the news or whatever when there's a big trial. There's a lot of armed security down here. So Federal Courthouse. There's a lot of other federal buildings, but of course we are driving past Thomas Jefferson's house up there on the left. So that house, he lived in that brick house there. When they were actually drawing up the Declaration of Independence, he was the guy who wrote it. Thomas Jefferson, obviously, he was a pretty smart guy. He was a bit of an erudite gentleman, a lawyer from Virginia, and he lived there when he wrote it. Ben Franklin was involved with that as well, but Thomas Jefferson usually gets the credit for the... that'll be open tomorrow if you want to go in there. It's part of the national park. So the Independence National Historic Park has parks like all over the city. This beautiful building ahead of us with the Renaissance department store from the late 19th century, the Litt Brothers department store. Federal Courthouse on the right. Up here on the right, though, this black cube building, that's the FBI. And there, it's the FBI on the right. The building up here on the left, of course, is that's a federal prison. So what I do is after work sometimes, I'll call up my favorite noodle place in Chinatown, walk down this alleyway to the left and around there, and you can actually hear all the prisoners out on the prison yard from there. I didn't realize that. It was a little unsettling. Watch out for these low-hanging trees on the tour. So 1,300 federal prisoners in there. The capacity is actually 1,000, I read. So it's that overcapacity. Maybe they'll have a prison riot or something. Up ahead, this is the Federal Reserve Bank. You can go in there for free. They have a little museum if you want to learn about banking history.
Which building?
The one up here on the right, this modernist cube building. So there's a museum in there, you can go in there. Look straight ahead of us, see where their construction is. You guys should look this up for something to do tonight, actually. Chinese Lantern Festival. So that's at Franklin Square. That's a really cool park. They have all these giant dragons lit up in Chinese pagodas. They got wine and beer and food and mini golf and all kinds of stuff. On the right, that's the first African American History Museum. That'll be open tomorrow. This area, they demolished all of this part of Chinatown in the latter half of the 20th century for government buildings and parking lots and parking buildings like this one on the left. So everyone always takes photos of that park, like you're taking photos of a parking building, all right? But it is kind of a fancy parking building for one reason in particular. Philadelphia's 1% for Art initiative launched in the 50s. So to beautify the city, Philly was very industrial during World War II and stuff. They wanted to beautify the city, so they made up a law whereby if you build a big new parking building like that, you have to spend 1% of the budget on public sculptures, so that glass facade is considered like a modern art sculpture. That's why it looks like a modern art museum or something.